Hey guys, this is Backlog Gaming here with another update on Final Fantasy 15. With PAX Prime going on right now, there is going to be some major announcements of some blockbuster hits coming out in the future years. So from here, I have a GameSpot article that says 16 different things that we know about Final Fantasy 15 just from today. So they apparently announced that there's a new summon, which is Leviathan, which we've already seen him if you watch other trailer footage of him being in the middle of the city, kind of swirling things up. So I kind of knew that already, but it was officially confirmed. Leviathan's a female serpent who lives in the water surrounding the city of Altissa. According to Tabata, she has a lot of intellect and can disguise herself to move around as a liquid. So it's kind of cool that we've seen in the demo Ramu or Rama, however you pronounce him, using his ability. That was huge. So I'm thinking we're gonna have very, very, very large summons in this game. So it's gonna play a major role. All of these summons will play a major role in the kind of the world's cosmetology, is how they put it. So you're going to be seeing areas developed around certain summons. I hope that it's kind of like when we went in the demo and you went through that narrow cavern all the way to the bottom and you found the power to summon Rama or Ramu. It was really, really awesome. So I'm hoping that everyone's kind of in that same, you know, category. Like, it's just not like, you gotta actually discover them. They're just not given to you. Now I understand they're going to give some to you, but I'm hoping there's a lot that you have to go out of your way to discover and enjoy. Baseline, this is going to be this. They're looking more at building Final Fantasy 15 around Japanese mythology with elements of Western religions melded in. Throughout the game, players will learn how the world was made and the divine beings that made it. So I'm thinking divine beings is going to be really focused on these summons. They call them Eidolons, I believe, Eidolons or something like that. So I think it's going to be really focused on around that. So there is a woman in the Final Fantasy 15 logo drawn by the artist Shotaka Amano. Isn't necessarily Etro, the goddess of death mentioned earlier in trailers of Final Fantasy Versus 13. She is, however, the most important goddess of the 15's world, and Amano's original sketch of her was inspiration for her character. So she's obviously going to play a huge role. I don't know if this is like the god of creation that they're going to be using her as. There is also another point about monsters. Monsters you encounter out in the field aren't all enemies. So some of them are going to be friendly creatures that have been designed to feel as though they belong naturally to live in that world. And not all enemies to Noctis and his friends. So you will find peaceful creatures that are out there. Creatures were designed to look like they would actually live in the environment they populate. Additionally, defeating some monsters will yield consumables, like sirloins to make food and whatnot. We kind of seen this in the trailer that there was that peaceful herd of, like, I don't know how to explain them. They're basically like cattle, but a lot bigger. It's where they were fine, but once you attack them, then they all kind of came after you. So we did see that in the demo. So I don't know if that's fairly new news, but they're counting it as one. We've seen a ton of new creatures, but the classic Final Fantasy monsters, Moogles, Tunberries, and Cactuar, and keeping the idea of Final Fantasy 15 being a fantasy-related world, those will still keep their realistic forms. So it's been difficult finding ways to incorporate them with these classic mystical beasts, but from there they were able to do that as a Final Fantasy game. So that's a plus, that they were able to get traditional monsters also in there. People and places, this is going to be another bigger topic here. Several new locations were revealed, cities and whatnot, floating islands among waterfalls and waterways, a town inspired by Cuba, built on top of a massive crater containing a meteor that provides the area with its energy, and mechanic station where players are able to service the car that you've seen them driving around in. The team will also revealed a port city where Noctis and his friends can find boats. So we may be able to travel to other places using boats. That would be kind of be cool. Noctis and Luna are romantically involved. This won't be your typical love story, but they are involved where they have some type of romance there. So you do have female characters also in the game. Players will be advised the role in developing Noctis' relationship with Ignis, Prompto, and Gladiolus. And the strength in their bond will be dependent on doing activities together, much as a two-person side quest, an episodic Discade 2.0. So you're going to have kind of like in Dragon Age RPG where you can build a relationship between two groups. You're going to be able to do side quests with those characters. Hey, that's more content. I'm okay with that, to kind of build the relationship and build the story between the two. So that's more not linear gameplay, but branching out, which is always a plus in any type of RPG that I play. Players will meet another mechanic character that isn't Cindy, the blonde-haired woman from the actual demo. Tabata said that the mechanic is a character we've come to know throughout the Final Fantasy series, suggesting the character will be called Sid. Every Final Fantasy game includes a name Sid, and he is often a mechanic. That's probably what I was thinking as I was reading that, is that it's going to be Sid that we will be seeing there, which is always great that they're keeping that throwback to the series and keeping that staple within the game. In the beginning, in the ongoing quest to balance combat in Final Fantasy 15, the team has added firearms that shield and shields to Noctis' arsenal. Players will be able to use both items and conjure Noctis' main weapons and the Phantom Sword weapons, and he's attained along his journey, and the exact number of weapons seems to be significant. And Tabata is noting that the number is meaningful, but is not saying what it is. So that's cool that there's going to be like a little Easter egg type thing about how many weapons he has. And it's going to be cool that now we have the option to play ranged, or maybe we can build him tankish to where he's like, I'm the defender, then the other people around me are going to be the support and the damage. So that's kind of a cool update there, is that you don't have to play melee. So if people were looking for that, which I would assume people were, that they can play range now, or you can play tankish, which is always a plus. Noctis' car is a physical manifestation carrying his father's connection along his journey. The car is a metaphor for the prince taking his father's love, burdens, and bonds on the road to his destiny. So the car is going to play a huge role in the game, so it is very important that you keep track of it. You'll be able to customize the car, and we'll have it serviced when it breaks down. Gas is a resource that you expend by driving it around, and you'll need to stop at gas stations to get some. That's fucking awesome, because that's more immersion. If you run out of gas while on the road, the boys get out and push the car. So that's neat. Is that we've all had that happen. But yeah, pushing cars if you run out of gas is pretty great. Speaking of transportation, players will be able to ride boats, as that was mentioned before, that they go to a port city to other continents within the world. So that's great. This is a big change from what Tabata said earlier about the year and the world being one connected mass. Players won't be able to directly control these boats, but however, they will go and will take the car with them. So it's going to work like a ferry system. They drive onto it, and then somebody drives it to the other side. So we're going to be hearing more about Final Fantasy 15 turning into Tokyo Game Show next month, include a deeper look into the characters themselves. So be looking for more content and announcements when that happens. Another article that I've seen is that Square Enix actually contemplated on using and trying out virtual reality on Final Fantasy 15 to see if it would fit their game. They ended deciding against it just because they didn't want their players wearing a headset for long periods of time. I'm sure it would have been a strenuous, longer development cycle than 10 years if they decided to go with VR and basically split it to be like, okay, you can have VR and then you have a game that doesn't use VR. So to give their fans an option. So I can see why they decided not to go with VR right off with the final release, but it was exciting to see that they are at least thinking about developing for VR and looking into it. Maybe not for JRPG either, though this world probably would have looked beautiful in virtual reality, but it's something that we're just not going to see. So other than that, that's all I've seen so far about Final Fantasy 15. I was hoping for a new trailer or something out there that I could do a live trailer reaction to, like the other two that were released on the last event, which was Gamescom, I believe. But unfortunately, nothing yet. But PAX Prime isn't over yet, so we'll see. From there, if you guys like this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe if you want to see more gaming content on YouTube from me. From there, I'll see you guys next time.